The glow of the phone screen burned into my eyes as I sat in the dark cab of my pickup truck, parked outside the half-finished frame of a suburban split-level. It was 10:47 p.m., and the construction site was silent except for the occasional rustle of wind through the tarp-covered lumber stacks. I'd been staring at the message for 10 minutes, maybe longer, reading it over and over like it was a coded transmission from a war zone. My hands, calloused from years of swinging hammers and gripping rifles, trembled slightly, not from fear, but from something I hadn't felt in years. Hope, maybe. Or just the ghost of who I used to be before Afghanistan. Before the nightmares. Before everything went dark. Hey stranger, it's Hazel. I know it's been forever, but I'm back in town. Coffee? Hazel Mitchell. The name alone was a time machine, yanking me back to humid summer nights in high school, sneaking out to the lake with a six-pack stolen from my uncle's garage, her laughter echoing across the water as we talked about dreams too big for this sleepy town. She'd been the girl who slipped notes into my locker, folded into intricate origami shapes, stars, cranes, hearts, each one inked with her loopy handwriting, promising she'd wait for me no matter where the world took us. She'd been the one crying at the airport when I shipped out for basic training at 18, her arms around my neck, whispering that she'd write every day. And she had, for a while. Through my first deployment, her letters were my lifeline pages filled with stories of college classes, her mother's garden, her plans to become a nurse. But by the second deployment, the letters slowed, then stopped. I didn't blame her. War changes people. And I wasn't the boy she'd known anymore. I swiped to her profile picture, a candid shot of her smiling outside a hospital, her auburn hair pulled back, scrubs slightly wrinkled, older now, with faint laugh lines framing her green eyes, but still unmistakably Hazel. Still beautiful in that effortless way that made my chest tighten, like I was 19 again, standing on her porch, nervous as hell for our first date. The photo stirred something deep, a longing I'd buried under years of dust and blood and regret. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. I typed out a reply, deleted it, typed another, deleted that too. 5 versions later, I settled on something simple, something that wouldn't betray the storm in my head. Would love to. Tomorrow at noon? The old place on 5th? I hit send before I could overthink it again, then tossed the phone onto the passenger seat like it might burn me. The reply came almost instantly, the screen lighting up the cab with a soft blue glow. Perfect. Can't wait to catch up. Fair warning, I've got someone I want you to meet. That should have been my first red flag. But loneliness has a way of making you colorblind, blurring the edges of warning signs until they look like invitations. I leaned back against the headrest, closing my eyes, letting the memory of Hazel's voice soft, teasing, always a little too earnest, fill the silence. Someone to meet. A friend? A boyfriend? A husband? My mind spun through possibilities, each one a little sharper than the last. 8 years was a long time. People move on. They build lives, make promises to other people. I had no right to expect anything different, but I did. God help me, I did. The night air was cool as I stepped out of the truck, locking it with a beep that echoed in the empty lot. The site was mine, Roman renovations, 3 crews strong, specializing in turning old houses into something new. It was honest work, the kind that let me build instead of destroy. But tonight, my mind wasn't on blueprints or budgets. It was on Hazel, and what tomorrow might bring. I drove home through quiet streets, the town lights blurring into streaks as I pushed the speed limit. My apartment was on the 3rd floor of a rundown complex, the kind where neighbors minded their own business. I climbed the stairs, muscles aching from a day of hauling lumber, and let myself in. The place was sparse, a couch facing a small television, a kitchenette with a fridge humming softly, a bedroom with a bed and a nightstand. No pictures on the walls, no knickknacks, just me and the silence. I showered, the hot water pounding against my back, washing away the day's sweat but not the anticipation. As I toweled off, I caught my reflection in the mirror, broad shoulders, scars from shrapnel and close calls, eyes that had seen too much. What would Hazel see when she looked at me? The boy she loved? Or the man war had made? Sleep came fitfully. Dreams mixing memories of Hazel with the chaos of patrols, her laugh echoing over gunfire, her letters scattered in the sand. I woke at dawn, as always, the military clock in my head ticking relentlessly. Coffee, black and strong. Then a run through the park, pounding pavement to clear my head. By 11:30, I was dressed in jeans and a button-down, driving to 5th Street, heart racing like I was heading into battle. The coffee shop was a relic, wedged between a bookstore and a pharmacy. Its sign faded but familiar. I pushed open the door, the bell jingling, and the scent of fresh brew hit me. Same booths, same counter, same barista who looked like she'd been there since my high school days. I ordered, sat, and waited, checking exits out of habit. When Hazel walked in, it was like the room brightened. Her sundress swirled around her legs, yellow like the sunflowers she loved. And her smile, God, that smile lit up everything. But the man behind her cast a shadow. Tall, polished, with an air of entitlement that set my teeth on edge. She hugged me, and for a moment, the world was right. Then Kellen shook my hand, his grip a challenge, and the game began. We talked, or rather, Hazel talked, her words a bridge over the years. Kellen interrupted, touched her, claimed space. I held my tongue, but inside, alarms blared. As we left, her whisper for dinner, just us, ignited hope. Kellen's glare promised trouble. I'd made an enemy, but for Hazel, it was worth it. Friday came faster than expected. I spent an embarrassing amount of time deciding what to wear, finally settling on dark jeans and the only button-down shirt I owned without paint stains. Stopped at 3 different stores looking for the right wine. Ended up with flowers instead because wine felt presumptuous. Sunflowers, because she'd always loved them. The blue Victorian looked exactly as I remembered, except for the black BMW parked in the driveway beside Hazel's Honda. My good mood curdled. Kellen. Hazel answered the door wearing an apron over her jeans, flour in her hair, looking flustered. Roman, you're right on time. I'm so sorry dinner's running a little behind. I tried to make that lasagna you loved, but it's perfect, I said, handing her the sunflowers. You're perfect. Her cheeks pinked. You always were a charmer. Come in, come in. The house smelled like garlic and tomato sauce, like comfort and home. Photos lined the hallway. Hazel with her mom, Hazel in her nursing scrubs, Hazel and Kellen at various events. Too many of Hazel and Kellen. Kellen, Hazel called out. Roman's here. I thought it was just us, I said quietly. She winced. It was supposed to be. He insisted on staying. Said he wanted to get to know you better. I'm sorry, Roman. He's been weird ever since we had coffee. Weird was an understatement. Kellen appeared in the doorway like a bad omen, wearing what looked like a $1,000 sweater and a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Roman, welcome to our home. Hazel's home, I corrected. Right, of course. He gestured to the living room. Drink? I make an excellent Manhattan. Beer's fine. How pedestrian. Hazel shot him a warning look. Kellen, please. Dinner was a masterclass in passive aggression. Kellen monopolized every conversation, telling stories about him and Hazel, their trips together, their inside jokes, their plans for the future. He'd touch her constantly, her hand, her shoulder, tucking her hair behind her ear. Each touch made my knuckles white around my fork. Remember that time in Vegas? Kellen laughed, pouring his third glass of wine. You were so drunk you tried to marry that Elvis impersonator. Hazel's face reddened. That was a joke, Kellen. And I wasn't that drunk. Oh, you were wasted. I practically had to carry you back to our room. Our room? I set down my fork. Separate beds, Hazel said quickly. We always get suites when we travel. For space. Kellen smirked. Sure. Space. The implication hung in the air like smoke from an IED. Hazel looked mortified. I stood up. I should go. No! Hazel grabbed my wrist. Please, Roman, don't go. Yeah, Roman. Kellen's voice dripped condescension. Don't be so sensitive. We're all adults here. Kellen, stop it. Hazel's voice cracked. Why are you being like this? Like what? I'm just making conversation with your old friend. He emphasized old like it was an insult. I sat back down, but the damage was done. The rest of dinner passed in uncomfortable silence, broken only by the scrape of silverware and Kellen's occasionally refilling his wine glass. Hazel barely ate, pushing lasagna around her plate like a kid avoiding vegetables. When I helped clear the dishes, she cornered me in the kitchen. I'm so sorry about him. He's not usually like this. I don't know what's gotten into him. I do, I said, setting plates in the sink. He's in love with you, she laughed, but it sounded forced. That's ridiculous. We're like siblings. No actual sibling looks at their sister the way he looks at you. Before she could respond, Kellen appeared in the doorway. What are we whispering about? Nothing, Hazel said. Just thanking Roman for coming. Yes, thanks for coming, Roman. Kellen moved closer, invading my personal space. But it's getting late, isn't it? You probably have an early morning. All that manual labor. Kellen! Hazel looked horrified. What? I'm just being considerate. He put his hand on my shoulder, trying to guide me toward the door. Let me walk you out. I shrugged off his hand. I'm good, thanks. No, I insist. His grip tightened. That's when I made my first mistake. I grabbed his wrist, applying just enough pressure to make him let go. It was a simple defensive move, one I'd done 1,000 times. But Kellen wasn't trained. He yelped, jerking back, and stumbled into the wall. He attacked me! Kellen cradled his wrist like I'd broken it. Hazel, did you see that? He attacked me. Roman barely touched you, Hazel said, but doubt crept into her voice. Barely touched. Look at my wrist. He held it up. There was nothing there, not even a red mark, but he acted like I'd shattered the bone. This is assault. I could press charges. For what, being a drama queen? The words slipped out before I could stop them. Kellen's face went purple. Get out. Get out of this house right now. It's not your house, I reminded him. Hazel, tell him to leave. Hazel looked between us, torn. Maybe you should go. Roman. Just for tonight. Let things cool down. It felt like a knife between my ribs. Hazel, please, I'll call you tomorrow, okay? We can talk when everyone's calmer. I looked at Kellen, who was fighting to hide a triumphant smile behind his fake injury. Yeah. Sure. Walking to my truck, I heard them arguing through the open window. Hazel's voice rose and fell. Kellen's got louder and more aggressive. Part of me wanted to go back, but what good would it do? I'd already been cast as the villain. As I drove away, I didn't know that this was just the opening move in Kellen's game. That things would get so much worse before they got better. If they ever got better at all. Hazel called the next morning while I was reviewing blueprints at a job site. Roman? I'm so sorry about last night. Kellen and I had a long talk. He admitted he overreacted. He wants to apologize. I don't need his apology. I know. But, please? For me, he promised to behave. We could try again. Dinner tomorrow? I'll make sure it's really just us this time. The smart move was to walk away. Every instinct screamed that Kellen was trouble. But Hazel's voice had that hopeful note that I could never resist. Okay. But if he pulls anything, he won't, I promise. 7 o'clock. Sunday night, I arrived to find Hazel alone, as promised. She'd made steaks, my favorite, and the dining room was set with candles. It felt like a real date. We talked for hours about everything and nothing. About the years we'd lost, the dreams we still had. She told me about the pediatric position opening up at the hospital. I told her about my plans to expand the business, maybe bid on some commercial projects. I feel like I'm 18 again, she said, wine making her cheeks rosy. Like anything's possible. It is, I said, taking her hand. Hazel, I never stopped. The front door slammed open so hard it bounced off the wall. Kellen stormed in, clearly drunk, his eyes wild. I knew it. I fucking knew it. He pointed at our joined hands. You promised me, Hazel. You promised it was just dinner. Kellen, you're drunk. Go to bed. Hazel's voice was steel. Don't tell me what to do. This is my house, too. No. Hazel stood. It's not. It's my house, and I've been very patient with you. But, patient? Patient? Kellen laughed, ugly and bitter. I've been patient. 2 years I've waited for you to see what's right in front of you. 2 years of watching you pine for this killer. That's enough, I said, standing. Or what? You'll kill me too? Like you killed those people overseas? Hazel, do you know what he really did over there? I looked him up. 3 bronze stars. You know what you get those for? Killing people. Protecting people, I corrected, my voice dangerously quiet. Same difference to a psychopath. He swayed, grabbing the doorframe for support. Hazel, you can't seriously choose him over me. After everything I've done for you, what you've done, Hazel's voice rose. You mean living here rent-free? Eating my food? Driving my mom's car that I let you use? The truth hung in the air like a grenade with the pin pulled. Kellen's face went from red to white to purple. You bitch, he whispered. You fucking bitch. I gave up everything for you. You gave up nothing. You had nothing. Your business partners didn't screw you over. You embezzled from them. I know, Kellen. They called me asking if I knew where you were. This was news to both Kellen and me. His mask finally slipped completely, revealing something ugly underneath. You knew? I've known for 6 months. I was trying to help you get back on your feet, but you just keep taking and taking. Kellen lunged at her. I moved without thinking, muscle memory from 1,000 close combat drills. I caught him mid-lunge, pivoting to redirect his momentum. He should have just stumbled past, but drunk and rage-blind, he tried to turn back toward Hazel. His foot caught on the carpet edge. He went down hard, his head clipping the corner of the coffee table with a sound like a baseball bat hitting a watermelon. Blood. So much blood, Hazel screamed. Kellen lay still for a heartbeat, then started moaning, cradling his head. The gash wasn't deep, but head wounds bleed like horror movies. You tried to kill me, Kellen shrieked. He tried to kill me. Call the police. Call 911. You fell, I said. You were drunk and you fell. Liar, you threw me. Hazel saw it. Hazel, tell them what you saw. Hazel stood frozen, looking between us. Kellen, you did lunge at me. He's brainwashed you. This is assault. Attempted murder. The police arrived within minutes. Kellen had apparently called them himself while Hazel got towels for his head. 2 officers, both looking tired and irritated at what was obviously a domestic dispute. Kellen performed beautifully, the concerned friend, the protective brother figure, the victim of an unprovoked attack by a violent ex-boyfriend with military training and probable PTSD. He's been stalking Hazel, Kellen told them, holding a bloody towel to his head. She's too scared to say anything, but he won't leave her alone. And tonight, when I tried to protect her, he attacked me. That's not true, Hazel protested. Roman was invited. Kellen is drunk. Ma'am, please step back, the younger officer said. To me. Sir, I'm going to need you to turn around and put your hands behind your back. This is insane. He attacked her. I was defending. Sir, turn around. Now. I knew better than to argue with cops. I turned, let them cuff me, while Kellen watched with satisfaction oozing from every pore. It's okay, officers, he said magnanimously. I don't want to press charges. He's clearly disturbed. Military PTSD. Hazel's too kind-hearted to see the danger she's in, but as long as he stays away from her, from us, I won't pursue this. The older cop looked skeptical but tired. Ma'am, do you want to press charges? No! Hazel looked horrified. No charges. This is all a misunderstanding. They uncuffed me, but the younger one pulled me aside. Look, I don't know what's going on here, but you need to leave. Now. And maybe stay away for a while. Yeah? Let things cool down. I looked at Hazel, silently begging her to say something, to tell them the truth. But she just stood there, small and lost, with Kellen's blood on her hands. I left. In my truck, I punched the dashboard hard enough to crack it. Not because of the humiliation or the injustice, but because I could see Kellen's game now, clear as day, and Hazel's sweet, trusting Hazel was caught in the middle, unable to see the monster she'd invited into her home. But Kellen had made a crucial mistake. He'd shown his hand too early, and now I knew exactly what kind of war this was going to be. 3 days passed in radio silence. I threw myself into work, demoing a bathroom with probably more force than necessary. Every swing of the sledgehammer was Kellen's face. My crew knew to stay clear. Then Wednesday night, my phone buzzed. Hazel, can you come over? Please. Kellen is gone for the night. Business trip. We need to talk. I shouldn't have gone. Every rational part of my brain screamed it was a bad idea. But rational thought had never been my strong suit where Hazel was concerned. She answered the door in pajamas, looking exhausted. No makeup, hair in a messy bun. Still beautiful enough to stop my heart. Thank you for coming, she said, pulling me inside. I'm so sorry about Sunday. About everything. Where is he really? Casino. He goes when he's stressed. Gambles away money he doesn't have. She led me to the kitchen, poured 2 glasses of wine with shaking hands. Roman, I don't know what to do. He won't leave. I've asked him to move out, but he says he has nowhere to go. And legally, he's been here 2 years. He has tenant rights. So evict him. That takes months. And he knows things. About my mom's estate. Some tax stuff that wasn't entirely proper. He holds it over me. He's blackmailing you. She nodded. Tears starting. I'm trapped. And now with you back, he's gotten worse. More possessive. More aggressive. I'm scared of him, Roman. I pulled her into my arms, and she broke. Sobbed against my chest while I held her, whispering promises I wasn't sure I could keep. That it would be okay. That I'd fix this. That she was safe. We moved to the couch, her curled against me like she used to be when we were kids. She told me everything, how Kellen had seemed so charming at first. How he'd slowly isolated her from friends. How the mask had been slipping for months, but she'd felt too guilty to kick him out. I'm an idiot, she said. You're kind. He took advantage of that. She looked up at me, and suddenly we were kissing. Desperate, hungry, kisses full of years of longing and regret. My hands in her hair, hers fisted in my shirt. The front door exploded open. Kellen stood there, swaying, eyes bloodshot. He knew it. We jumped apart. Hazel went pale. You said you were gone for the night. I lied. Wanted to see if you'd betray me. And look, here's the proof. He pulled out his phone, started recording. Evidence of your infidelity. We're not together, Kellen. Hazel stood, furious. We've never been together. We could have been. We should have been. But you chose him. The killer. The psycho. Get out, I said, standing. Pack your shit and get out. Make me, soldier boy. He spread his arms wide. Come on, hit me. Show Hazel who you really are. I took a step forward. He took a step back. Yeah, that's what I thought. I'll talk. He focused on Hazel. You want me gone? Fine, but I want $50,000. What? Hazel gasped. Emotional distress. 2 years of my life wasted. 50 grand and I disappear forever. That's extortion, I said. It's negotiation. Hazel knows what I know. Don't you, sweetheart? About the $70,000 you skimmed from your mom's estate before the lawyers got involved? The IRS would love to hear about that. Hazel's face crumbled. That money was mine. Mom wanted me to have it. But you didn't declare it, did you? Tax evasion's a felony, Hazel. You'd lose your nursing license. Your career. Everything. He smiled, all teeth. 50,000 seems cheap to make me go away. She doesn't have 50,000, I said. Then she better find it. Or maybe her boyfriend can pay. Big successful contractor, right? This is just pocket change for you. Get out, Hazel whispered. Just get out, Kellen, please. I'll give you a week to think about it. Then I start making calls. He backed toward the door, still recording. And Roman? Stay away from her. She's mine until she pays up. He left, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the windows. Hazel collapsed on the couch, sobbing. I held her, my mind racing. $50,000. I had it, barely, but paying would just encourage him. Guys like Kellen didn't stop at one payoff. I'll handle this, I told her. How? He's right about the taxes. I was stupid and scared and, I'll handle it, I repeated. Trust me. But I had no idea how. All my skills were built for different kinds of warfare. In Afghanistan, enemies wore different uniforms. They shot at you with bullets, not blackmail. The rules were clearer. Here, Kellen held all the cards, and he knew it. Stay with me tonight, Hazel whispered. Please. I don't want to be alone. I should have said no. Should have left, figured out a plan, approached this tactically. Instead, I stayed, held her while she slept, stood guard against a threat I didn't know how to fight. Around 3 a.m., I heard glass breaking downstairs. Then another window. Another. By the time I got downstairs, every window on the first floor was shattered. My truck in the driveway had its windshield smashed, tires slashed, written in spray paint across the garage door. Killer. No security cameras, no witnesses. Just Kellen's calling card, letting me know the war had officially begun. Hazel stood at the top of the stairs, surveying the damage. We should call the police. And tell them what? That the guy you've housed for 2 years, who I already had a confrontation with, probably did this, but we have no proof. She knew I was right. The cops would see me as the aggressor, the violent ex with PTSD who couldn't let go. Kellen had played his role perfectly. What do we do, she asked. I looked at the destruction, calculated the cost of repairs, the time it would take. Then I thought about Kellen's smug face, his threats, his hands on Hazel. We wait, I said. Guys like him always escalate. He'll make a mistake. I just didn't know how much that mistake would cost us all. The next few days blurred together in a haze of broken glass and insurance claims. I paid for Hazel's windows out of pocket, didn't want Kellen's vandalism on her homeowner's insurance. My truck was another story. 4 new tires, new windshield, and the spray paint needed professional removal. 3 grand total. Kellen was smart, never showed his face when I was around, but Hazel said he'd come home the morning after the vandalism, acting shocked and concerned. Even helped her sweep up glass, playing the perfect housemate while suggesting maybe I was unstable. Maybe I'd done it myself for attention. Friday afternoon, I was at a job site when my foreman called. Boss, you need to get to the office. Now, our equipment yard was in flames. Fire department was already there when I arrived. 3 trucks spraying water on what used to be my storage facility. $20,000 in tools, gone. 2 work trucks, destroyed. The renovation trailer where I kept all my contracts and paperwork, ash. Arson, the fire chief told me. Accelerant everywhere. You pissed someone off? I knew who. But knowing and proving were different things. Any cameras? I asked. Your security system was spray-painted black before the fire started. Whoever did this knew what they were doing. My phone rang. Unknown number. Expensive day? Kellen's voice was silk over broken glass. This is what happens when you don't respect boundaries, Roman. You son of a... Careful. You're probably being recorded. Wouldn't want to make threats. This isn't over. No, it's just beginning. Stay away from Hazel, or next time it won't be your business burning. He hung up. I stood there watching my livelihood burn, calculating losses. Insurance would cover some, but not the contracts I'd lose, not the reputation hit, not the 3 guys I'd have to lay off until I could replace equipment. That night, Hazel called crying. Kellen had given her an ultimatum. Me or him. If she kept seeing me, he'd not only report the tax issue but also claim she was complicit in insurance fraud, that she knew about my mental instability and helped cover up my self-destructive behavior. He has documents, she sobbed, forged, but they look real. Bank transfers that look like I was paying you for silence about something. He's been planning this for months, Roman. Pack a bag, I said. Come stay with me. I can't. If I leave, he wins. This is my house. My mom's house. Then I'll come there. No! That's what he wants. An excuse to call the police. To escalate. She took a shaky breath. I need time to figure this out. To find a lawyer. Maybe. Just give me a few days. Every instinct screamed not to leave her alone with him. But what choice did I have? Show up and play into his narrative? Give him more ammunition? 3 days, I said. Then we go to the police together. Tell them everything. Okay. 3 days. Saturday passed quietly. Too quietly. I stayed at a motel, paranoid about my apartment. Sunday morning, I drove by Hazel's house. Kellen's BMW was gone. Her car was in the driveway. I texted, "You okay?" "Yes, he's gone for the day. Casino again. Can I see you?" "Better not. He has friends watching." That evening, I was at the motel when the door exploded inward. 4 men in ski masks rushed in. I managed to drop the first one with an elbow to the throat, but the others were on me fast. Baseball bat to the ribs, crowbar to the shoulder. They weren't trying to kill me. This was a beating, not an execution. Message, not murder. But 15 years of muscle memory doesn't care about messages. When the red haze cleared, I was standing over 4 bodies. 3 weren't moving. The 4th, Kellen, I recognized his eyes above the mask, was trying to crawl toward the door, his left leg bent at an impossible angle. "Please," he gasped. I can't feel my legs. Blood everywhere. The carpet looked like a war zone. My hands were steady, but my mind was screaming. This wasn't Afghanistan. This was a motel in suburban America. These weren't enemy combatants, but they'd come to hurt me. And training doesn't have an off switch. I called 911. "There's been a break-in," I said. Voice mechanical. 4 men attacked me. I defended myself. "Send ambulances." Multiple casualties. The cops arrived first. Then the EMTs. They pronounced 2 dead at the scene, crushed windpipe on 1, catastrophic head trauma on the other. The 3rd died en route to the hospital, internal bleeding from a ruptured spleen. Kellen was alive but paralyzed from the waist down. His spine had been severed when I'd thrown him into the dresser. I sat in the interrogation room for 6 hours, telling the same story over and over. 4 masked men broke in. I defended myself. No, I didn't know who they were. Yes, I feared for my life. No, I didn't mean to kill anyone. They'd brought weapons. That saved me. Clear self-defense, the detective finally said. But his eyes said something else. Monster. Hazel arrived as they were releasing me. Her face was pale, eyes red from crying. "Is it true?" she whispered. "Kellen is paralyzed?" I nodded. "And the others?" "Dead." She stepped back like I'd hit her. 3 people are dead. 3 people who broke into my room with weapons. One was Kellen's cousin. Another was just a kid. 22 years old. They had families. Roman. They tried to... To what? Scare you? Rough you up? Did they deserve to die for that? The space between us felt like a canyon. Hazel, they came at me with bats and crowbars. What was I supposed to do? Not kill them! You're not in Afghanistan anymore! You can't just... She stopped, hand over her mouth. I can't do this. I can't be with someone who can just switch off and become a killer. Hazel. Kellen was right about one thing. You are dangerous. She was crying now. Those men were wrong to attack you, but they didn't deserve to die. And now I have to live with knowing I'm the reason 3 people are dead. You're not. Yes, I am. They came after you because of me. Because Kellen was jealous. She backed toward her car. I'm done, Roman. With both of you. I'm selling the house and leaving town. Don't contact me again. She drove away, leaving me standing in the police station parking lot with blood still under my fingernails and the weight of 3 souls added to my collection. The war was over. We'd all lost. The funerals made the news. Local contractor kills 3 in motel altercation. They used my military photo, the one in dress uniform that made me look like exactly what they wanted to portray, a trained killer who'd brought the war home. My lawyer, a shark named Patterson who'd handled self-defense cases before, told me not to read the articles or watch the coverage. But I did anyway. Needed to see what the families were saying. Kellen's cousin had 2 kids. The 22-year-old was enrolled in community college, studying to be a nurse. The 3rd guy had a record, which helped my case but didn't make him less dead. The district attorney declined to press charges. Clear-cut self-defense, they said. 4 against 1. Weapons involved. Forced entry. But legal vindication doesn't wash blood off your hands. I tried to reach Hazel once. Her number was disconnected. The house on Maple had a for sale sign within a week. Her coworker at the hospital told me she'd transferred to a facility in Portland. No forwarding address. Kellen survived, if you could call it that. Paralyzed from the waist down, facing charges for conspiracy to commit assault, though his lawyer was already working plea deals. He'd never walk again, but he'd probably avoid prison. Apparently, judges were sympathetic to men in wheelchairs, even ones who orchestrated violent attacks. My business cratered. Who wants to hire the guy who killed 3 people, even in self-defense? I had to sell everything, pay off my remaining contracts, and start over. Move 2 states away where the story was just gossip instead of headlines. But the real casualty was harder to measure. Hazel was gone, but more than that, the possibility of Hazel was gone. The future I'd imagined. The normal life I'd thought I could build after the desert and the dust and the death. Kellen had taken that from me as surely as I'd taken his legs. Months passed. I found work with a construction crew that didn't ask questions. Rented a 1-bedroom apartment that always felt too quiet. Went to VA therapy, which helped with the nightmares but not the guilt. The therapist kept saying it wasn't my fault, that I'd responded to a threat, that my training had saved my life. But did it have to cost theirs? I asked one session. She didn't have an answer for that. A year later, I got a letter forwarded from my old address. Hazel's handwriting. My hands shook opening it. Roman, I know I said not to contact me, so I guess I'm a hypocrite for writing this. I needed time to process everything, to understand my role in what happened. I'm in Portland now. Started over. The pediatric ward here is good, and nobody knows about Kellen or you or any of it. Sometimes I can almost pretend it was all a nightmare. I heard Kellen is in a wheelchair. Part of me feels guilty for not caring more. He was my friend once, or I thought he was. Before he became whatever he became. His aunt sends me messages sometimes, blaming me. Maybe she's right. I'm writing because I need you to know something. I don't blame you. I did, for a long time. It was easier than blaming myself for letting Kellen into my life, for not seeing what he was, for being too weak to stand up to him until it was too late. You did what you were trained to do, what you had to do. Those men came to hurt you because I couldn't handle my own mess. Their deaths are on my conscience, not yours. I'm seeing someone now, a pediatrician at the hospital. He's kind and stable and has never killed anyone. He doesn't know about my past, and I want to keep it that way. We're expecting a baby in the spring. I know that hurts to read. I'm sorry, but I wanted you to hear it from me. I loved you, Roman. The real you, not the soldier everyone else sees. But that love came with too much destruction. We were casualties of Kellen's war as much as anyone. Take care of yourself. Find peace if you can. You deserve it. Even if you don't believe that. Hazel. P.S. Kellen tried to contact me last month. I didn't respond, but he mentioned he's getting married to his nurse. I guess monsters find their matches too. I read the letter 5 times before setting it on fire in the kitchen sink, watched her words turn to ash and wash down the drain. She was pregnant. Building the life we talked about with someone else. Someone clean. I was happy for her. I was destroyed. Both things were true at once. 3 more years crawled by. I built a new business in Oregon, smaller but stable. Hired veterans, mostly guys who understood that sometimes your past was something you carried, not something you talked about. We did good work, honest work. I bought a small house outside Portland, close enough to know Hazel was in the same city, but far enough to never accidentally meet. I dated occasionally. Nice women who didn't know how to respond when I went silent mid-conversation, lost in some memory triggered by nothing they could see. One lasted 6 months before she asked why I had 4 locks on my bedroom door and slept with a baseball bat under the bed. Just habits, I told her. She left the next week. The VA therapist said I was making progress. The nightmares only came twice a week now. I could go to crowded places without mapping exits obsessively. Sometimes I even forgot to check if cars were following me. Progress. Then Kellen found me. Not in person even, he wasn't that stupid. But emails started coming from anonymous accounts. Photos of the 3 men I'd killed, their obituaries, their families at graveyards. Subject lines like murderer and their blood is on your hands and you destroyed 4 lives that night. I didn't respond, just forwarded them to my lawyer. Patterson got a restraining order, but email addresses are easy to create. Then came the package. No return address, but I knew who'd sent it. Inside was a wooden box, hand-carved. Beautiful work, actually. Inside the box were 3 spent shell casings, not from that night. Those weren't gunshots, but the message was clear. 3 deaths. And underneath them, a photo. Hazel at a park, pushing a toddler on a swing. A little girl with Hazel's eyes and some stranger's smile. Hazel looked happy, radiant. The mother I'd always known she'd be. Written on the back. She's beautiful, isn't it? Would be a shame if something happened to that perfect little family because of you. My blood went cold, then hot, then cold again. I called Patterson. Is this enough for charges? Maybe. Probably. But he's in a wheelchair, Roman. No jury's going to see him as a credible threat. He hired 4 men to attack me, allegedly. That was never proven in court. He's threatening a child, he's implying. There's a difference, legally. I hung up and did something I'd sworn I'd never do. I looked up Hazel's information. She was married now, different last name. Living in Lake Oswego. Nice neighborhood. Her husband was successful pediatric surgeon at OHSU. The girl in the photo would be about 18 months old. Every instinct screamed to warn her, to protect them. But showing up would only drag her back into this nightmare. Kellen was trying to bait me, to make me react, to destroy the peace she'd built. So I did nothing. Increased my own security. Had a lawyer send Kellen a cease and desist. And tried to pretend a paralyzed psychopath wasn't fantasizing about revenge 400 miles away. But I started driving by Hazel's neighborhood sometimes. Never her street, never close enough to see. Just nearby, in case, telling myself I was being protective, not obsessive. 6 months passed without incident. The emails stopped. I started to think maybe Kellen had found a new obsession, or maybe his wife had reined him in. Then the news broke. Disabled man dies in prison attack. Kellen was dead. He'd been arrested for fraud, apparently. He'd been running a charity scam, stealing from donors who thought they were helping paralyzed veterans. Ironic, really. He'd made bail but then violated parole by harassing his ex-wife. The nurse had divorced him after discovering he'd been stealing from her too. The judge gave him 18 months minimum security. Wheelchair accessible. Should have been easy time. But even minimum security has politics. And Kellen, true to form, had tried to manipulate the wrong people. Someone had rolled him into a supply closet and strangled him with an extension cord. No cameras in that corner. No witnesses willing to talk. I felt. Nothing. Then everything. Then nothing again. My phone rang that night. Unknown number, but I knew. Hello, Hazel. Silence. Then. You heard? Yeah. I don't know how to feel, she said, voice small. He was evil, but he was also human, and now he's dead. And I feel relieved, and that makes me feel like a terrible person. You're not terrible. You're human. Are you okay? I don't know. Are you? My husband doesn't know about any of it. I've never told him about you or Kellen or that night. It's like this secret other life I had that ended in blood. How's your daughter? She laughed, soft and sad. You know about Emma? Of course you do. She's perfect. Looks like my mom. Acts like me, stubborn and too trusting. Hazel. I have to go. I just needed to hear your voice. To know you were okay. That we survived him. We did. Take care, Roman. You too. She hung up. We never spoke again. Life has a way of moving forward even when you're standing still. Kellen was dead, but his ghost lingered in the 4 locks on my door, the way I still checked cars in my rear view, the therapy sessions I couldn't quite quit. 2 years after his death, I met someone. Lisa, a nurse at the VA hospital where I still went for appointments. She'd seen my file, knew my history, didn't flinch when I told her the details over coffee that turned into dinner that turned into breakfast. Everyone has ghosts, she said, tracing a scar on my shoulder from that night at the motel. Some people's are just more visible. She had her own, an ex-husband who'd left her with bruises and debt, a miscarriage that nearly killed her, a brother lost to addiction. We fit together like broken pieces that made a different but complete picture. We didn't talk about marriage or kids or the future. We just existed in the present, which was all either of us could handle. She moved in after a year, bringing nothing but clothes and a cat named Hemingway who liked to sleep on my chest, purring like he could vibrate the nightmares away. Sometimes it worked. I built the business back up, hired more crews, bid on bigger projects. Even got a contract for a veterans housing complex, which felt like coming full circle. The developer had Googled me, knew about that night, hired me anyway. Everyone deserves a second chance, he said. I wanted to tell him this was more like my 5th or 6th chance, but I just shook his hand and got to work. One day, I was at a hardware store in Portland when I saw her. Hazel, in the garden section, examining tomato plants. Her daughter Emma, now about 5, was dancing between the flowers, making up songs about butterflies. I should have left, turned around, walked away, let her have her peace. But I stood frozen, watching the life I'd once imagined playing out with different casting. Emma saw me first. Mommy, that man is staring. Hazel turned, and our eyes met across 15 feet and 5 years of silence. She went pale, then flushed, then pale again. Roman. Hi, Hazel. Emma tugged her mom's hand. You know him? Old friend, Hazel said, voice carefully neutral. From before you were born. I started to leave, but Hazel called out. Wait. Please. She whispered something to Emma, who skipped off to look at the fountain display. You look good, she said. Healthy. You too. Beautiful as ever. I heard you're with someone. Lisa? Small town. Everyone knew everyone's business eventually. Yeah. 2 years now. I'm glad. You deserve happiness. So do you. How's your husband? Good. David's good. He's stable. Safe. She smiled sadly. Everything I thought I needed. But? No, but just. Sometimes I dream about that blue house on Maple, about sunflowers and lasagna and what might have been if Kellen hadn't. She stopped. I'm sorry. That's not fair. Life's not fair. Emma ran back, grabbing Hazel's leg. Mommy, can we get the purple flowers, please? Sure, baby. Hazel picked her up, and Emma studied me with serious eyes. You look sad, Emma announced. Emma, Hazel blushed. I'm sorry, she has no filter. It's okay. I smiled at the little girl. Sometimes I am sad. But seeing you and your mom made me happy today. Emma considered this. Mommy's sad sometimes too. Daddy says it's okay to be sad as long as you don't stay sad. Your daddy's smart. He fixes kids' hearts, Emma said proudly. What do you do? I build houses. Cool. Can you build me a treehouse? Emma, enough questions. Hazel set her down. Go pick out your purple flowers. I'll be right there. Emma skipped off again. Hazel watched her go, then turned back to me. She's the best thing in my life, she said. The only purely good thing to come from all that chaos. She's lucky to have you, Roman. She stepped closer. Close enough that I could smell her perfume different from before. But still her. I need you to know something. I loved you. Really loved you. Not past tense. Not conditionally, if things had been different, but they weren't. No, they weren't. She touched my hand, just for a second. Be happy, Roman. Or as happy as people like us can be. You too. She walked away, taking Emma's hand, leaving me standing among the garden supplies with my chest feeling crushed and expanded at the same time. That night, I told Lisa about the encounter. Do you still love her? She asked, no judgment in her voice. Part of me always will. But that part lives in a different timeline. One where 3 men didn't die and Kellen wasn't a monster. And in this timeline, I pulled her close. In this timeline, I love a nurse who isn't afraid of my demons and has a cat that snores. Hemingway doesn't snore. He absolutely does. We made love slowly, carefully, like we were both made of scar tissue that might tear if handled roughly. Afterward, she fell asleep on my chest, and I lay awake thinking about Emma's words. It's okay to be sad as long as you don't stay sad. Smart kid. Smarter than most adults I knew. The years kept moving. Lisa and I got married in a small ceremony, just us, 2 witnesses, and Hemingway in a bow tie that he immediately tried to eat. No fanfare, no big reception. Neither of us needed to pretend our lives were fairy tales. I'd been sober from violence for 6 years when the call came. 2 in the morning, my phone screaming. Unknown number. Mr. Reynolds? This is Detective Morrison with Portland PD. You're listed as an emergency contact for Hazel Chen. My blood turned to ice. Lisa stirred beside me as I sat up. What happened? There's been an incident. Mrs. Chen is in the hospital. She's asking for you. Is she? She's stable. But you should come. I threw on clothes while Lisa watched with worried eyes. Hazel's in trouble, I said. I have to go. I'll come with you. No. It's from before. My mess. She kissed me. Your messes are my messes now. But go. Call me when you know something. The hospital was too bright, too familiar. I'd been here before, visiting guys from my unit, watching them try to piece themselves back together. Hazel was in room 314, face swollen, arm in a cast, machines beeping around her. David, I recognized him from Facebook photos I shouldn't have looked at, sat beside her, holding her good hand. He looked up when I entered, confusion clear on his face. You are? Roman, Hazel said, voice thick from painkillers. My friend, David, can you give us a minute? Hazel, I don't think, please. He left reluctantly, shooting me suspicious looks. What happened? I asked. Home invasion. 2 men. They wanted money. David was at the hospital. Emma was at a sleepover. Thank God. I was alone. But there was something in her eyes, a recognition. Hazel, what really happened? She started crying. One of them said something. Before they left, he said, Kellen sends his regards. Kellen is dead. I know. But he said it. Roman. He said Kellen wanted me to know that debts get paid, even from the grave. My mind raced. Kellen's cousin's family, the other victims' families. Someone carrying a grudge, finishing what Kellen started. Did you tell the police? How can I? Hey officers, this might be connected to my dead friend who was paralyzed by my ex-boyfriend who killed 3 people 5 years ago. They'll think I'm crazy. You need protection. I have, David. I have, she stopped. Roman, they knew things. About Emma's schedule. About David's shifts. They've been watching us. You need to leave town. I can't just uproot Emma. Hazel. I took her good hand. Whoever this is, they're not done. This was a message, not the main event. David returned then, looking between us. Okay. Someone want to tell me who the hell you are and why my wife is crying? Hazel looked at me, then at him. David, sit down. There's something I need to tell you. About before we met. About why this happened. I stood to leave, but she held my hand tighter. Stay, please, in case I get it wrong. So I stood there while Hazel told her husband about Kellen, about me, about that night at the motel. Watched his face go from confusion to shock to anger to fear. Watched him look at me like I was a live grenade in his hospital room. You killed 3 people? He asked. Yes. And now someone's after my family because of it? Because of Kellen, Hazel corrected. Roman was defending himself. I don't care. David stood, fists clenched. I don't care about the why. My wife is in the hospital. My daughter could have been home. Because of something you 2 did before I even knew her. He wasn't wrong. I'll handle it, I said. How? By killing more people? By finding out who's behind this and stopping them? No. David moved between me and Hazel. No more violence. We're calling the police, the FBI, whoever we need to. And you, he pointed at me. You stay away from my family. David. Hazel started. No, Hazel. This man is poison. Look what follows him. Death and more death. He turned back to me. Leave. Now. Don't come back. I looked at Hazel. She was crying again, torn between 2 worlds. Go, she whispered. He's right. We'll handle it legally. I left, but I didn't go home. I sat in my truck in the parking garage and made calls. Old contacts. Guys from my unit who'd gone into private security, surveillance, the gray areas of protection. Within 6 hours, I had a name. Tommy Morrison, Kellen's cousin's son. 19 years old, full of rage about his father's death. Recently connected with one of the other victims' brothers. They'd been planning this for months. Maybe years. I had addresses, photos, their whole plan laid out by a friend who'd hacked their communications. The smart move was to turn it over to the police. Let the system handle it. Be the good citizen. But the system had failed before. The system had let Kellen terrorize Hazel until violence was the only answer. The system had put him in minimum security where he could still send threats. I sat in my truck, weighing options, when my phone rang. Lisa, where are you? Hospital parking garage. Come home, Roman. Whatever you're thinking, come home first. Talk to me. They hurt her, Lisa. They're planning worse. I know. But you're not that person anymore. You're not a weapon. You're my husband. Come home. She was right. I wasn't that person anymore. I'd built something better, something worth protecting by not becoming the monster again. I drove home, gave the information to Detective Morrison, and let the system work. Tommy Morrison and his accomplice were arrested 2 days later. The evidence was overwhelming. They documented everything, thinking they were untouchable. Hazel texted me once, "Thank you for not becoming him again." I wanted to reply, wanted to say something profound about change and growth and choosing to be better. But instead, I just sent back, "Take care of your family," because that's what mattered. Not closure, not justice, not even peace. Just the people we choose to protect and the people we choose to become. 8 years. That's how long it took for the final chapter to write itself. Lisa and I moved to Washington, bought some land, built our own house with my own hands. Every beam and board was a meditation, a prayer for peace. We fostered kids, teenagers mostly, the ones everyone else gave up on. Boys with anger like fire in their veins, girls with trauma carved into their arms. We gave them space to be broken, tools to rebuild, time to heal. Some stayed in touch, others disappeared into their own lives. All of them left a mark. I hadn't heard Hazel's name in 5 years when the Google alert came through. I'd set it up long ago, a digital guardian I'd forgotten about. Kellen Williams, 45, dies in federal prison. Wait, Kellen had died 8 years ago. I clicked the link. Different Kellen Williams. But the article mentioned the other one, our Kellen, in passing. That's when I learned the truth. Kellen hadn't died in that prison supply closet. He'd been badly injured, nearly died, but survived. The story I'd heard, that Hazel had heard, was what he'd wanted us to believe. He'd had his lawyer spread the news of his death while he was transferred to federal prison for the charity fraud. A longer sentence than expected, 20 years, because they'd found more victims, more scams, more lives destroyed. But now he was really dead. Heart attack in his cell. The article included a photo, older, grayer, still in a wheelchair, but unmistakably him. Those same calculating eyes, now closed forever. I sat with that information for hours before calling Lisa at work. "He was alive," I said. "All this time, Kellen was alive." "What?" I explained. She listened, then said, "How do you feel?" "I don't know. Angry that he fooled us, relieved that he's actually gone, sad that I wasted so much time thinking about someone who was already supposed to be dead. All valid. Should I tell Hazel? Do you have her number?" "No." "Then there's your answer. But the universe has its own plans." 3 weeks later, I was in Portland for a construction supply run when I stopped at a coffee shop. The same one where Hazel and I had reunited all those years ago. She was there. Older, laugh lines deeper, a few gray strands in her hair, still beautiful. No Emma this time, she'd be 13 now, probably too cool for coffee with Mom. Hazel saw me and smiled, not the complicated smile of our last meeting, but something cleaner, lighter. "Roman Reynolds. What are the odds?" "Pretty low, but here we are. Join me?" I did. We talked like old friends who'd been through a war together and come out different but intact. She told me about Emma's soccer championships, David's promotion, the normal life she'd built on the ashes of chaos. I told her about Lisa, the foster kids, the house I'd built with room for broken people to heal. "Did you hear?" she finally asked. "About Kellen? That he was alive all those years?" "Yeah. I found out last month. Felt like getting punched in the stomach. All that grief and guilt over someone who wasn't even dead. But he is now. He is now." She raised her coffee cup. Two endings. Two endings. We clinked ceramic, drank in comfortable silence. "Can I ask you something?" she said. "Do you regret it, any of it?" I thought about the 3 men who died, their families who still grieved. About the years of therapy, the nightmares, the way I still check locks and exits. About Kellen in his wheelchair, paralyzed and imprisoned, living 8 years. I thought he'd been spared. "I regret that it happened," I said finally. "But not what I did." "There's a difference." "Yeah, there is. What about you?" She smiled, sad but genuine. "I regret letting him in. I regret not being stronger sooner. But without all that, I wouldn't have Emma, wouldn't have David, wouldn't have learned what I could survive. Silver linings. Sometimes that's all we get." We finished our coffee, stood to leave. Outside, she turned to me. "I'm glad you found peace, Roman. Real peace. Not just the absence of war. You too, Hazel." She started to walk away, then turned back. "You know what the strangest part is? I forgive him. Kellen. Not for what he did, but for what he was broken and desperate and human. Is that crazy? No. That's grace." She smiled, touched my cheek gently, then walked away. This time, I knew it was the last time. No dramatic goodbye, no tears, just 2 people who'd survived the same storm going back to their separate shelters. I drove home to Lisa, to our land, to the kids who needed us. That night, I told her about meeting Hazel, about Kellen being alive all those years, about forgiveness and grace. "Do you forgive him?" she asked. "No, but I don't carry him anymore either. He's just done. Good." Hemingway, ancient now, held together by arthritis, medicine, and stubbornness, climbed onto my chest, purring his rattling purr. Lisa curled against my side. Outside, rain started against the windows I'd installed myself, in the house I'd built with hands that had taken lives and now created homes. The ghosts were still there, they always would be. 3 men who might have lived different lives if they'd made different choices. Kellen, who'd chosen vengeance over healing, Hazel and the life we might have built in some other timeline. But ghosts only have the power you give them, and I was done giving them mine. Later, I got one final text from Hazel. Just 3 words. Be happy, Roman. I showed it to Lisa, who smiled and said, good advice. I deleted the text, the Google alert, all of it. Then I pulled my wife closer and listened to the rain on our roof. In our home, in this life I'd built from the rubble of the one that war, both foreign and domestic, had destroyed. Kellen was dead, really dead this time. The war was over. Had been for years, I just hadn't known it. And tomorrow, some new foster kid would arrive, angry and scared and certain the world was nothing but pain. I'd teach them what I'd learned, that you can survive the worst things. That violence is sometimes necessary but never noble, that the hardest battles are fought not with fists but with the choice to not become the monster that hurt you. That redemption isn't a destination but a direction you choose every single day. The rain kept falling, Hemingway kept purring, Lisa kept breathing against my shoulder, and for the first time in 15 years, I fell asleep without checking the locks.